Hi, it's me, Dr. Korax, coming to you from Rhetoric City with edition 8 of the Daily Trope, Onomatopoeia. Here we go. Using or inventing a word whose sound imitates that which it names, the union of phonetics and semantics. The story. Flip-flop. My flip-flops are driving me crazy. Everywhere I went, flip-flop, flip-flop. Who the hell invented these goddamn fucking things? I Googled it. The answer was vague. It mentioned Asbury Park, New Jersey, but no names. I was about to burn my flip-flops when I got an idea. I bet there are millions of people who would want to read a book about the inventor and history of the flip-flop. So I quit my job, said goodbye to my wife and kids, cleaned out my bank account, and headed for Asbury Park. I drove all night and got there at dawn. I looked out over the ocean and then checked into a low-budget motel, Wicked Waves. It didn't have a lobby, just a drive-through window with bars. The desk clerk pointed a .45 at me and asked how long I was staying. I said I didn't know, and he said, "Okay, give me $75 in cash, now!" I paid and went to my room 13. The door squeaked like a mouse being strangled. There was a neatly folded inflatable sex doll on my bed with a sticky note on it that said, 1 hour for $5. See proprietor for inflation and to pay. I pushed her onto the floor and laid down. The mattress had the consistency of a ripe banana, nice and mushy. I would sleep well tonight. Time to get to work. I made a cardboard sign that said, "Tell me about your flip-flops," and headed for the boardwalk. It was a beautiful summer Saturday, and the boardwalk was packed. I took up a position near the merry-go-round and held my sign up over my head. I stood there nearly all day. No luck. Nobody even looked at me. I walked back to Wicked Waves, and there was a guy who must have been 80 or 90 sitting on the sidewalk outside his room in one of those old-time metal lawn chairs. It was rusted and old like him. He was shirtless, and there was a faded tattoo of a flip-flop on his wrinkled old chest. I held my sign in his face, and it was like he turned 30 years younger. His blue eyes sparkled as he said slowly, "I invented the flip-flop, Sonny." I flipped out. If it was true, I was the luckiest man alive. I said, "Tell me your story, please," he began. It was 1959, and I had just graduated from high school. I was in a rock band called the Beach Fellows. We sang music about looking for beach glass, seaweed, starfish, and seashells, mostly clamshells. We were going nowhere, so we got a manager. He changed our name to Vinny and the Hula Hoops. We had a hit song, Watermelon Waterfall. Our manager put us on tour, and our first gig was here at Asbury Park, my hometown. I, Brad Springroll, was going to make it big. I was right on the verge of total success. I was going to be a star. The night of our gig, I could not find my shoes. I was desperate. I took the rubber floor mat out of the shower and traced my feet on it. I used my Swiss Army knife to cut out my footprints. I tore my sheet into strips, poked a hole in each of my cutouts between my big toe and pointer toe and each side of my foot, and threaded the sheet through the mat. I put them on my feet and walked across the room, and they made the signature flip-flop sound. Flip-flops were born. After our gig, I went back to my room. I found my shoes and threw my flip-flops in the trash can outside the door. Later that night, I heard a noise. I looked. There was an Asian man rummaging through my trash can. He found my flip-flops and ran away. 6 months later, I saw a rubber version of my flip-flops on sale at the drugstore near the beach. They were actually called flip-flops, and they were my invention. Wow, his invention. What happened next, I asked. This one really threw me. His answer was, I get a royalty check every month. That couldn't be true. That was bullshit. This whole thing was bullshit. I packed my stuff and left. My project was dead. 2 months later, though, I received a package from Japan with a pair of gold colored flip-flops inside. There was a note that said, "It is all true." I headed back to Asbury Park immediately. I was going to write that book. Well, there you have it. Straight from Rhetoric City, where the truth doesn't speak for itself. Another edition of the Daily Trope. I hope you enjoy the stories as much as you enjoy learning what a trope is. That's funny. I always make jokes. Bye-bye. Till next time.